Hey lovely sexy hobby people, welcome to today's video, which is going to be the flick through for Airfix Club magazine. It is issue, she said, 15, and with this we get the Airfix Club magazine 2026 calendar. So we'll have a flick, say that again, we'll have a flick through the magazine and a look through the calendar. Hey lovelies. Right, let's have a look at Airfix Club magazine issue 15 for 2025. That doesn't mean there's been 15 issues for 2025, it just means that they're continuing the numbering. And then we have our Airfix Club calendar to look at as well. Now, let us get into this. So straight off the bat we have our introductory page, and then we have a little something on the Heineken HE111 Attackers of Convoy PQ17. Now I think I saw Airfix recently uploaded a video where they talked about the aircraft. They built the aircraft, built and painted the aircraft that took place in that raid, I believe. So that's going to be an interesting article to read. We then have a little word search, and then the secret modeler. So I have a confession, I'm a scale modelling hoarder. I think that a lot of modelers have a little bit of hoarder in them, because we do tend to buy models and like secret them away. Secret them away, and then, you know, before you know it, you've got enough stock to open a small hobby store. Connie's Ferret, the Gulf War story behind Airfix's latest box art. Now, this is the story, I believe, of the guy who just randomly saw that his old ferret that he used to crew, I think during the Gulf War, ended up as box art for the latest Airfix kit. So sometimes history is a way of finding you when you least expect it. For Alistair Constantine, known to his fellow soldiers as Connie, that moment came through a WhatsApp group chat. A friend sent him an announcement of Airfix's new Ferret Scout car kit, complete with its striking box art. At first, Connie thought nothing of it, but then he spotted the registration number of 00 Echo Charlie 15. It was a jolt of recognition. This wasn't just any ferret, it was his ferret, the very vehicle he had driven during Gulf War I. So that would be 1991, I believe. So yeah, there you go. And then there's an article about it and some pictures. Andy's Airfix Treasures. What's this? Over the course of our many enjoyable conversations with Airfix obsessive and all-round good egg Andy Kirby, it didn't take long for us to realise that amassing arguably the world's foremost collection of Airfix related items and ephemera, there you go, got it in the end, is a serious matter for him, even when those items happen to be just a little more light-hearted in their collectible nature. This time around, without there being an aircraft or tank kit anywhere in sight, our subjects for inclusion are a collection of items guaranteed to raise a smile, and for those of us with a few more years under our belts, will probably be remembered as items found in our own homes, though we probably didn't make the Airfix connection back then. So these are the Fred the Flower Grader. Was an Airfix produced kitchen phenomenon during the 60s and 70s. Now I remember these because I swear I remember seeing these guys, or like the simile of them, in adverts for Home Pride. I think it might have been Home Pride goods, Home Pride flour and stuff like that. I think that's what it was. Yeah, the Spillers Home Pride Company. There you go. So Fred was their, what's the word I'm looking for? Corporate identity, I suppose. Everybody sort of like associated Home Pride with Fred, and he was in adverts and stuff. I do remember the Weebles. I did know that Airfix had a connection with Weebles. And the advert said that Weebles wobble but they don't fall down. And literally they're just eggs that are weighted in one end, so that they just teetered like this. But there's a whole world for them. Airfix Chinook, how did they do that? So we're looking at how they designed and brought the new Airfix Chinook kit, or the latest Airfix Chinook kit, to life. Bravo November, probably the most famous Chinook in British service, was the only aircraft to get off the Atlantic conveyor. Yeah, Atlantic conveyor. It was the only aircraft, but it was the only Chinook to get off the Atlantic conveyor, because what they were doing was the Chinooks, the squadron had essentially been broken down for transport, and they were putting them together on the deck of the Atlantic conveyor and then flying them off one at a time. And unfortunately, this was the only one that did that. So yeah, and then you've got the Gulf War I desert scheme here as well. Ready for duty, transatlantic visitor, Michael Clegg and Nathan Mundy. With last year marking the 80th anniversary of D-Day, airworthy examples of war-winning Douglas C-47 Skytrain embarked on a busy summer of flying at air shows and commemorative events in Britain and across the Channel, with several aircraft even making the trip across the Atlantic to make it in the commemorations. Marketed as the D-Day Squadron 2024 Legacy Tour, this historic formation was scheduled to include the incredibly rare US Navy variant of the CH-47 within its number. However, persistent engine problems kept the aircraft on the wrong side of the Atlantic as far as UK aviation enthusiasts were concerned, who must have feared that they had missed out on this rare opportunity. So, often referred to as the Dakota, CH-47 or the C-47 Dakota. Then we have a great shot of some artwork of the shuttle Discovery here. Sally B, 50 display seasons for Britain's Flying Fortress, Memphis Belle. Very nice. There is something about the shape of the Flying Fortress that I love. Flying Pubs, the daring story of the RAF's beer runs after D-Day. In the days following D-Day, as British troops pushed deeper into occupied France, there was one surprising shortage on the front lines. Not ammunition, fuel or food, but beer. Local French cafes could offer little more than cider or worse, and morale among the soldiers began to dip. For men who had stormed the beaches of Normandy, what they truly longed for was a proper pint. So this looks to be how they got round that. And it looks, there's a picture here, it looks like they're putting nose cones, attaching nose cones to beer kegs. I'm assuming to make them aerodynamic and free fall, so that they land. And then we have, oh look, we have a picture of a spit with these beer kegs and the nose cones on them. Brilliant. So that was issue 15 of the Airfix Club magazine. Let's have a look at our 2026 catalogue. So we have a really nice, who remembers, so for those of us of a certain age, Matchbox was another childhood company that produced toys. They also did a limited range of model kits, which were, I believe, bought out by Revel, or bought up by Revel, when Matchbox went the way of the dodo. But Matchbox produced a metal stolly, a tiny little metal stolly in these colours. And to see somebody produce this Exploration BP stolly in those colours, you know, that the Matchbox one was, is really fun. Absolutely fun. So what do we have? That looks like some sort of Bristol Blenheim, maybe. All it's got here is just the name of the modeler. I can't see any other details about the kit. Is that a Wildcat, maybe? I wonder if that's the 124 scale Wildcat. 124 scale Wildcat, maybe. That looks like Typhoon. That looks like the commemorative paint job for to commemorate, I think that might have been the 2024 D-Day commemoration, because they painted invasion stripes on the aircraft. Nice diorama with the Airfix 1/35th scale Bedford QL truck, I want to say, possibly. Probably wrong there, somebody correct me please. Is that a Gannet? Fairy Gannet? Royal Navy colours. We have a Gloucester Meteor, I believe. The Shannon class lifeboat. I do have one of these. I'm in the process of doing the build video for it, and I will get that out as soon as I can. And that's just going to be a clean build, clean paint job, no weathering or anything. So a Vulcan for August, a Chinook for September, and this looks like a male World War I tank. Male because it had cannon rather than just machine guns. The machine gun armed tanks were females. Sherman Firefly, by the look of it. Nicely rendered actually, and extra stowage. HMS Illustrious for December. Now that is a nice model. Is that the 1/350th scale one? I don't know. I know Airfix have done some 1/350th scale ships, modern ships. So I don't know if that's one of them. And then we have a couple of Spitfire here, and we have, I think it's either a Typhoon or a Tempest here. And then on the back page we have a P-51 Mustang. So there you go. That was the calendar and the magazine. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next video. All right, take care. Bye bye.